welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy, and this is Nadu Midrange. Patreon subscriber James did a very cool thing, where frequently in the comments or on social media or whatever, people say, I'd really like to see this deck, but I can't afford to donate to see it. And James said, in the future, if that happens, I have spotted someone for the league. And with the recent success at paper events in the hands of folks like Jarvis Yu and Brady Monroe, Nadu Midrange is kind of crashing the scene, and I've had several requests to see it on the channel, which is great because I also want to play it for the channel. James, thank you for the opportunity to do this. All that said, here it is, Nadu Midrange. This is a Green Sun Zenith toolbox deck. It is just a mid-range kind of deck where you have this extremely messed up button you can press at some point in Nadu plus Nomad. This deck features normal magic cards like Force of Will, Swords to Plowshares, Ponder Brainstorm, Teferi Time Raveler. You've just got a bunch of relatively normal lands in the deck. There's no Urza Sagas or anything like that. There's no Shukos. There's no infinite combo. Neither of the Cephalid Breakfast variety nor of the Springheart Nantuko variety. This deck does not go infinite. It simply plays back and forth magic, one for ones here and there, until it assembles Nadu plus something that does stuff with Nadu, and then it runs way out of range of what your opponent's doing. This deck is kind of hiding under the radar right now, and it might be a lot better than the numbers indicate. Like if you look at MTG Goldfish, it's like 1% of the metagame right now, but if you look at recent paper tournaments, and we did a whole Eternal Glory podcast about the rise of Nadu, if you want to go listen to that. We'll say a whole lot more about it there. But Nadu is back in the presence, and this Nadu midrange deck in the hands of several skilled and dedicated pilots has been putting up a bunch of tournament top 8s and wins lately in the real paper world. You're really good against tempo decks because you just have great mana, and Delighted Halfling is a hammer versus them. Even just Nadu as a 3/4 flyer, even if it never gets targeted by anything, 3/4 flyer bricking, Quarry Steel Cutter attacks, Dragon's Rage Channeler attacks, Tamiyo attacks, just whatever. That's just good enough. And if they ever do kill it, you're at least up one card. You're just really well positioned versus that, versus people like Stompy, like Red Stompy. You have a bunch of basic lands you can get. You're still a Force of Will deck. You have creatures that are good sized. And if you ever press the Nadu button, it's over. Versus combo decks, you have your Force of Will. You have your Zenith package, which out of the sideboard could get stuff like Collector Oof and Gadok Teague. It's just a well-constructed mid-range deck. And generally the problem with mid-range is that at some point they run out of cards. But with Nadu, that's not true. It's a mid-range deck with something that feels like a combo in it. There's a lot to like about this deck. I'm just going to try it here. Let's do it. This is Nadu midrange. I'm on the draw in round 1. I have Force Blue card and my entire combo. I'm going to keep. And a spot like this, would I prefer this exact hand, but Nadu was Cephalid Illusionist instead? Probably. However, would I prefer to draw Nadu in other situations instead of Narcomoeba or Dread Return? Absolutely. So there's a lot of push and pull here. Okay, it looks like we're in some sort of 8 cast something or other. I'm saving my Force to get my combo together because that's what this game's really about. I'm going to Zenith for Dryad Arbor here and get things moving. Accelerate that mana. They're casting Mox Opal out of the graveyard. Thoughtcast. I think I'm just going to let most things resolve here. Anything that doesn't stop my combo, like if they Chalice of the Void, I have to interact with that because then I can't Nomad. Lava Spur Boots is okay. Chalice on 1. All right. Well, we've got a fight on our hands now. I do have to care about that one. Sad. Okay. Well, they have no draw engine, and I'm about to cast Nadu. And here's what I was talking about with the it's just a 3/4 flying thing. I haven't really done anything this game, and now it's going to be hard to do things for a little while. But Green Sun Zenith for Scythecat Cub, we're in it. This Emery doesn't have any cards to draw. Like, there's no bauble in that graveyard. If they try to interact with Nadu, I get to start flipping. If they have something like a Kappa or an Urza Saga, I'm going to be behind, but right now it's pretty close. All right, they're just giving Emery Ward 1. Okay, I think playing out my land is worth it here. Just going to push for damage. There are 2 Surveil lands in the deck, both of the blue-based Bant ones. Or no, it's not Archive, it's the green one. It's the 2 green Surveil lands. So fetching to find action is part of the plan. Teferi gets me out of this and wins the game on the spot. Green Sun Zenith is very good. They didn't even use the Emery. Just more worried about the damage. That tells me they have very little going on. Hedge Maze. Nomad. Sorry, buddy. I wish I could play you right now. They are showing Hardcast Force of Will right now, which would make sense if they have a card in their hand that they didn't just play already. Come on, Teferi. All right, I've got another Surveil land in there. I'm going to keep playing fetches for now. I think the next land I draw, I will hold in case I draw Scythecat Cub or Zenith for Scythecat Cub. Okay, they're continuing to leave Emery back on defense. Worried about that 1 point from Dryad Arbor. Portico has Delighted Halfling. Doesn't help. Backup Nadu. Okay, I mean, they're dead in 3 hits. And I've done nothing this game except cast a 3/4 flyer. Ooh, Pinnacle Emissary. They could start going wide here if they've been sandbagging artifacts for this. So Emery's definitely going to attack this turn, or cast Lotus Petal out of the graveyard and bank a 1/1. Yeah, these drones do block Nadu forever, so now I have to figure this out. It boots onto the 4/3. The drones can only block flyers, though, which this attack means Dryad Arbor can get in. All right. It's starting to fall apart a little bit. Attack. They'll probably block with a drone. They take 1. They have a guaranteed drone every turn. They just float a mana with Petal and then replay it with Emery. Even if their hand is completely blank, that works. Yeah, here, that comes. I still win the game on the spot if I draw Teferi. But it is getting worse. Chalice of the Void was the best card they could have. I saved my force for it, but they had the force back. Redundant Opal. 1/1's definitely worth it here. Yep, suiting up one of the new drones. They're pushing their damage. They know what their job is now. I think my job is to park it. Well, there he is. Hardcast Force of Will is good for them. Anything else they lose, I will go for it. That's all I can do. Sink into Stupor. That's a lot worse than Force of Will. Okay. That's promising. All right, no attack with Nadu this turn. I now have a plan. I think if they had forced, they would have forced there. They know they're in trouble. I know they're in trouble. But I am dead after 2 turns of attacks here. Oh no, that's so good. All right, the redundant Chalice. Now they're out of trouble. They have to be a little careful how they attack here. Pinnacle Emissary is an artifact, so if they equip Boots to Emissary and attack into my Nadu, that's not even good for me. Like, I wouldn't even trade the Nadu. 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this is a lethal attack. I probably have to lose Dryad Arbor here. Oh, they left 1 back. That doesn't make sense. Okay, I'll block the 3/3. And I take 5. I think I'm still dead here. But Teferi can't bounce Chalice. It can bounce that drone. Force of Will. Just a little late, buddy. All right, I'll play Teferi. And can I survive this turn? If I bounce this drone, I can attack them to 2, but I'm not alive anymore. That's not helpful. If I draw a green source, I could play a new Nadu. All right, I'm going to bounce this drone. Disappointing. And I am just dead here. Okay. They found that second Chalice right on time. And I found that Force of Will just a little late. But it was close. All right, Force of Vigor, Outland Liberator, Collector Oof. Big stuff coming in out of the sideboard here. Get Lost destroys creature enchantment or planeswalker. I don't think I want that. Sylvan Safekeeper is in the deck for protection. It's not a combo loop. The modern build had a infinite combo involving Sylvan Safekeeper. This deck does not include that. I think I can play less Force of Will now that I have all this other stuff in. Ooh, Soul Cauldron also would have won me that game. I could have cast Nomad into the Chalice and then give Nadu its ability. So I was drawing pretty heavy there. That was Scythecat Cub, Cauldron, 2 Teferis, Zenith, 4 Cub. Prismatic Ending was in the deck as well. Yeah, I was drawing pretty heavy for a long time there. I don't think I'm interested in Force of Will that much. Halfling's good. I could shave 1 Ponder if I think this game is going to be about playing to the board and doing it quickly. All right, I'll keep this. I could just lead on Lush Portico, or I could set up Outland Liberator. All right, I'm going to lead on Portico, like set up the Liberator. The land is a good one to find. If they have turn 1 Chalice, it's annoying, but Liberator can break out of that. Saga, Boots, Opal, Bauble. All right, how far are we going? Okay, that seems to be the end of the line. All right, I think here I'm going to play Nomad instead. The Liberator can show up and blow up Artifact whenever it needs to. But if they lock me out with Chalice, that's no good. Oh, there's a Nadu. All right, I'll put Nadu in my hand with Zenith under it, and hopefully just prevent Nadu 2 times in a row here. This Saga probably can get a Pithing Needle, naming Nomad, Thoughtcast, Opal, Legend Rule, Bauble. They see Windswept Teeth in my hand at random with their Bauble. They see Greensun Zenith on top of my deck with the other Bauble. And I'm just going to send it. With the impending Pithing Needle, I think I just gotta do my thing here. Nadu. Yeah, that's countered. They know I have Zenith in my hand for another one. They lost to Pinnacle Emissary to do that. They have some pretty big constructs here, but I've got a little bit of time to figure it out. All right, pair of 6/6s. If they have a mana, they're attacking me for 13 right now. Yep. Needle on Nomad. Who could have predicted? Ancient Tomb. Okay, I'm getting attacked for 13 right now. It's pretty big. Opal. All right. That's the 3rd Opal this game. 2 cards left in their hand. Oh, wow. They're casting a Kappa Cannoneer. Okay. So that sets up an even bigger attack for next turn. We will find out together if there's going to be a next turn. They've got 1 card in hand. It can't be Force. Oh, that's not the land I wanted, you stupid idiot. Okay. I think I brainstorm to start. I get rid of Dryad Arbor and Hedge Maze. Then fetch for Savannah. Play Outland Liberator. Swords to Plowshare is one of these things. And hope for the best. This Kappa's pretty scary. Oh, they have a 2nd Kappa. Am I just dead to this? I think I am. Yeah, they have exactly enough mana to give the 2nd Kappa haste. God, that sucks. Okay. They kept me off balance just long enough to make this happen. And Kappa Cannoneer, I'm 1 mana short of killing the boots. If I drew a normal land instead of Dryad Arbor and didn't have to brainstorm, I get another turn. But then all I do is flip Nadu and hope that it hits enough to survive this. But what even is enough to survive a double Kappa? I might not even have been in that game had I hit correctly there. Okay, on to the next one. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, MagicCon, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the draw in round 2. I'm going to keep. My opponent's on 6 already. I have Nomad plus Soul Cauldron to be a redundant Nomad. Soul Cauldron does function as half of a Ghost Vacuum if they're a graveyard deck. I obviously have no protection for myself here. A Ponder shuffled off of Basic Island. Ooh, that's a good one. I am going to get... It's awkward because I want Savannah, but I also want to be able to Ponder next turn. All right, I'm going to get Tropical Island. Play Delighted Halfling. Agatha's Soul Cauldron is a legendary spell, by the way. Just put that in your hat in case it matters. Force of Will pitching stock up, so we're almost certainly against Show and Tell here. There are some kind of off-meta control decks that just play stock up as their reload card of choice. But if I see an opponent mull to 6, fetch a basic island, and pitch a stock up, all of those things are things that Show and Tell would do. They just said in the chat that Island Ponder Keep failed them. Well, it only works for me, sorry. The long con paid off. I have just been on camera keeping exactly that hand for like 6 years now. There's a land I really like Teferi. Don't shuffle. Oh, I did this poorly. If I hedge maze, then I lose the Teferi. I can just set up a brainstorm. It's okay. We got this. A brainstorm of your own. I do need to start making something happen. Omni Show, Show and Tell, Sneak and Show. These are not really matchups that you want to see with any mid-range deck. And if I don't get my Nadu button smashing, they will overcome almost anything I'm doing here. They appear to be brainstorm locked again. That means their hand is all spells. I could take a turn to Zenith for a Nomad, or not a Nomad, Halfling. That guarantees Teferi resolve, but that doesn't really help me do anything. I could also jam Teferi now, but these are occasionally Daze decks. Alright, I'm going to jam Teferi now. Come get some. There's Teferi. If they interact with this, I hope it's with Force and not with Daze. At least give me 2 cards off it. Yeah, Force pitching another stock up. Opponent's wheels are spinning over there. Now they're working through their brainstorm lock. They didn't follow up with a Ponder. Sometimes that is a saving grace when you're locked. They don't seem to have that one. My own brainstorm. I don't need this Soul Cauldron. And Caracas might be awesome. Or I could go... Yeah, I'm going to go Zenith, Cauldron. Hedge Maze, bin the Cauldron. Play Nomad. And threaten Nadu next turn. This is the other card off the brainstorm lock. High confidence that that's not a good one. Okay, I'll play Caracas for turn. And send it. Do you have a third Force of Will? Nope. Alright, cool. Alright, so I'm pretty sure we're against Show and Tell. That's a Flusterstorm, Force of Negation, Veil of Summer, Carpet of Flowers. Gaddock Teague doesn't really help. If they're Sneak and Show with the One Ring, I like Gaddock Teague. If they're just regular Omni Show, I don't. I don't know if they're Sneak and Show or Omni Show, or even if they're Show and Tell at all. Like, that's just a high confidence, but Agatha Soul Cauldron's out. Outland Liberator can blow up in Omniscience. So can Force of Vigor, but I don't want to overboard here. Get Lost can kill a Sneak Attack or an Omniscience. Or an Atraxa. Maybe. Swords to Plowshares, we could probably live without those. And Sylvan Safekeeper, I can live without that. I think this is what I got here. Oh, Prismatic Ending's even worse than Swords to Plowshares. That could buy me a Hydroblast in case they are Sneak and Show. Or a Force of Vigor. As another out to Omniscience. I think I want the Hydroblast. There's also the possibility that they're just like Grixis Wizards or Jeskai Wizards that has a couple of stock-ups in, and that would also be good against that. I might have a blank card in my deck, or I may have the Sick Reeds. We'll find out soon. I like this hand. It has 1 land, but it has 2 mana dorks. Another Island Ponder. We'll see if it betrays them again. Didn't shuffle. Okay. We're gonna get a game this time. Tundra's a great find. Now I can Savannah and play this Halfling. This is an uncounterable Teferi on 2. And if they fight over Halfling, that's something they don't have to protect from my Force. And if I uncounterable Teferi this deck with a Force in my hand, I'm going to feel amazing. Uh-oh. It's party time. Show and Tell. No surprise there. I'm going to pitch Force of Will. I don't have another blue card anyway. And if their thing did resolve, if they just put in like Atraxa or Emrakul, Teferi would actually clear it. All right, white, blue, colorless, uncounterable Teferi. I'm going to plus Teferi in case I have to bounce something next turn. There's no card I could draw off of a random rip there. Okay, stock up. We're getting time. Time is all I need. Give me time to figure it out. What am I Zenithing for? I can Zenith as an instant thanks to Teferi. I do have the Outland Liberator in the deck. If they get Omni, I could Zenith in response. Ooh, a Cub. That is a combo with Nadu. Okay, I'm just going to pass with Zenith for 3 available. If they show and tell here, I actually have the sick line of put in Endurance off the show and tell, which generates a trigger. Okay, consult the star charts. They're just not ready. So if they show and tell, I can put in Endurance, which creates a trigger, which means that only instant speed spells can be cast over that. And because I have Teferi, I know they can't play any instants, and then I can Zenith for the Liberator and blow up their Omniscience before they can do anything. All right, here's Nadu. I'm just going for Nadu now that this is available to me. I'll land to get the party going. All right, didn't happen. Brainstorm. Save me. Ponder. I do like this Flusterstorm. All right, I'll put back Endurance and Ponder. I don't want them to see the Flusterstorm, and the Cub's about to go nuts. Cub. Start putting counters on stuff. There's a Ponder in my hand. Fetch. Tropical Island. Nadu again. Brainstorm. Cast Ponder. Didn't find a Nomad. Didn't really find anything. I'm going to shuffle that. Zenith without a green available. I could Teferi target one of my own things to functionally draw 2 cards. Is that any good? Yeah, I will actually bounce my Halfling here. Hit a Ponder. Drew a Caracas. Oh, that Caracas is also pretty good versus show and tell decks. Okay, now I'm just taking chunks out of them. I have a Flusterstorm I can play. I have Caracas and Teferi minus to try to survive an actual resolve show and tell. Yikes. All right, well, I'll Flusterstorm that, unfortunately. They can pay. Oh, wow. They didn't pay. Okay, well, maybe they just didn't count that, or maybe they can't win at 7 life. I don't know. GG's. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the draw in round 3. Highland Ponder. Let's go. It betrayed my opponent last round. It only works for me. Underground Sea. Okay. We'll see what sort of trouble we can get into with that thing. I think I am going to fetch Basic Island here in case this is tempo. I would rather have good mana. Force of Will, Plow, Zenith. I like all these cards. Bank the Force, and then I can draw through the other ones. If they shove through and Entomb Reanimate, if it's Atraxa, I can bounce it. If it's Archon, I can plow it. And the cool thing about Swords to Plowshares is if the monster's in exile, it may or may not do anything ever again. Okay, they had a Brainstorm to set up a Surveil. I think it is better for me to try to force this than try to fight it with Caracas, but if they fight over it, then they're down cards and I Caracas anyway. Okay. Atraxa's in, and they've got a whole mess of stuff over there, including Entomb Reanimate. They took Reanimate, Tameo, Delta, Force. Okie dokie. So they have to discard the hand size here. Is the Archon randomly also in your hand? It is. Awesome. Okay, cool. We're having a good time. Caracas, get Atraxa out of here. I can... Yeah, I know they have Force Blue card is the problem. Yeah, this was relentless. I think I could have beaten Archon or Atraxa here, but them having both is pretty rough. Yep, you're down to 5 briefly, then back up to 8. I'll discard this Blooded Strand, I guess. I know I'm drawing Green Sun Zenith as well, which is not ideal. Okay, Tameo's in play, so I no longer know they have a blue card. I just know that they're a blue deck with 7 cards in hand. Or no, I do know they have a blue card. It's the Atraxa that I gave them. Right. I could blast Teferi in here now. I don't think they're going to fall for any Green Sun Zenith tricks because Archon is so good against Zenith that it doesn't matter. I'm also not sure I want to show them Green Sun Zenith, or even green cards at all. Kind of have to fetch Savannah here, though. All right, I'm going to plow the Archon. They're going to force it. Force pitching Atraxa, yep. Bounce Tameo. I don't want them getting any traction here. So they'll attack me with Archon. I'll discard Tropical Island, and then I'll YOLO Slam to Fairy and hope that I can bounce the Archon, and they're somehow out of gas with their 8-card hand. Dothy Voidwalker. Okay. There will be a Tropical Island in the Void for them to enjoy here. I could play around Daze by discarding Zenith instead, but then what's my plan after that? You know what? I actually think I'm in so much trouble here that I have to play around Daze. I have to play around anything, even though I would rather have Zenith in my hand. Wasteland, okay. Glad I played around that. All right, you got a Daze for me. I'm prepared to concede. Cool. I'll bounce the Archon. This Voidwalker still has me dead in 2 hits. And if Archon comes back, I'm dead to that too. This is an interesting decision for them. Take the time to clear to Fairy, or just hit me twice. They are taking the time to clear to Fairy, who is now in the Void. And they have 8 cards in hand. They could just go to cleanup and dump the Archon again. Bonder does not change the number of cards in their hand. Okay, they played a land rather than going to natural discard. Looks like they have a Murktide. Yep, I would play the land too. Ponder. I need to find some more Swords to Plowshares. Oh, there's one right there. Don't shuffle. Plow the Murktide. Brainstorm. Put back. Safekeeper. Halfling. Windswept Heath. Pass. They attack me to 1 because I have to fetch here. Put me to 2, then I fetch to 1. And then I have to have Nomad and Nadu resolve, and then flip into non-fetch land Swords to Plowshares in the top 8 cards of my deck. Sounds reasonable. Wasteland makes that impossible, so now I'm looking for Swords to Plowshares. And we know they still have Tameo in hand over there too. Plus everything that's in the Void, which is a lot. Okay, I'm going to get Lush Portico. Oh, we were so close, team. That Wasteland got me good. All right, Nadu to the graveyard. I have to find a removal spell. There's Plows to Fairies and Prismatic Ending in here. That's not it. All right, GG. We made a grind out of that. Like, they had the complete nuts on the play, and it was still down to maybe even the second Wasteland. Like, the first Wasteland was good. The second one squeezed me enough. Like, that was actually pretty inspiring. Like, this is the deck you have to beat in this format. And obviously, a number of good players have chosen to play this deck, so they believe the matchup is there. And it's pretty sweet because they can't really afford to juke you, at least not entirely, because you're so much better than Dimir Tempo, and they're a bad Dimir Tempo deck. They have to keep trying to reanimate. All right, I'm low on Safekeeper. I don't need this many Force of Wills anymore. Swords to Plowshare is still great. I don't think this matchup's really about Scythe Cat Cub. Endurance is great. Teferi's solid. Soul Cauldron's great. I think I'm going to shave another Force. Maybe Prismatic Ending goes. I mean, I know that they have creatures after board, but I have a lot of removal for those. And the ability to ignore them, which I can't do for the rest of their deck. Let's go. I should have this Flusterstorm in. I missed Flusterstorm. All right, I'm misboarded by at least 1 card here. Yeah, I'll keep this. I like Swords to Plowshares. I like Caracas. I like that I'm ramping. Zenith for Arbor. I think in a lot of matchups, you have to keep hands and sideboard and play like they're not the entire combo deck anymore. Inquisition of Kozilek. Okay. Are they more worried about... I can honestly see arguments for any one of these cards. If they're worried I have a Keen-Eyed Curator or Scavenging Ooze kind of thing, which I don't, they might take Zenith. If they're on a fair plan, they might take Plow. Unfortunately, I don't have a Keen-Eyed Curator. I have nothing of the sort. The Zenith actually kind of sucks on too. I could get a Scythe Cat Cub and hope for the best, or I could try to set up Nadu for next turn. I think I'm going to keep casting spells. I'll get Tropical Island and Zenith for 2. See if they're worried about this. I don't have Keen-Eyed Curator, but it is common in Zenith packages. Force Pitching Ponder. Okay, that was worth a fight to them. If they have Archon, I can plow it. If they have Atrex, I can bounce it. If they just play, like, Dothy Voidwalker, it's whatever. All right, they have a ton of discard. All right, deck. Top and bangers here. Ponder. Always a banger. Brainstorm could set me free. All right, I'm going to hide the Brainstorm on top of the deck. And I'm going to play out Caracas and Bank Swords to Plowshares. And I'm going to attack for 1 because their life total does matter with the reanimates. Okay, just a pass. They could have Bowmaster. I don't want them to have Bowmaster, but it could happen. I'm going to make this attack and make it really appealing to play Bowmaster. All right, I'm going to pass. I have Surveil lands available to help figure my life out. Entomb. Disappointing. Okay, Entomb resolves. All right, I'm going to Brainstorm in response to this because I do have Fairy Macabres in my deck. It's none of those. If I put back Zenith and Plow, I have 2 shots at this Archon. I plow the Archon. Okay, they're using Force to protect it. That's pretty good for me. I mean, Archon is obviously always going to be nuts versus creature decks, but I got 2 shots at this. Just gotta hope they don't have Force blue card, Force blue card. And one of these was a random draw. Okay, Archon is gone. I can't win with that anymore. And I have Caracas, which keeps Atraxa from ever hitting me. But now they need a juke, and they're down to 3 cards in hand. And this isn't pretty, but I think I'm ahead. And my top card is Zenith. That's a good one. Is that true? Did I lose track of this? It'll just be embarrassing if this isn't Zenith. All right, we did it. Successfully, correctly played my magic card. I don't think I need more white. Double green does matter sometimes, though. Double blue doesn't. I will get a tropical island. And I'm going to try to put Nadu into play. Okay, they've drawn a Daze in the interim. I could have played around that by getting a smaller creature, but I think that making them have it there is fine. They can't take me off a color. They can take me off Caracas. Now Atraxa works again. I'm just going to play my land. I guess they have enough Thoughtseizes that maybe I should sandbag that a little bit. Okay, another one. I hope you don't have another Daze. This critical redundancy of Zenith decks is awesome. Nadu. Not playing around Edict. I'm just getting the best creature I have. Okay, it's my turn again. Force of Will. Not currently useful, but my next land or next blue card make that very good. And my deck has a lot of both of those things in it. Uh-oh. Well, that's disappointing. Reanimate does hurt a lot, but not enough. They drew a land. We know they haven't drawn that. Okay, they just don't have a reanimate. That's perfect. Big rips. That's a big rip. About as big as they get. Nice. All right. Now I have some protection. Every time Nadu connects is very important because if they drop to 7 life, they can't reanimate anymore. All right, this is probably going to be an Undercity Sewer, Bend an Underground Sea, Dothy Voidwalker. I'm going to respond to that with Endurance because Endurance is really good here, even if it just clears the Atraxa and puts power on the board. And if they do have Force of Will, I'd rather have Endurance in my graveyard than in the Void. So played around that successfully. Big rips, yeah! Pew 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 pew. Okay, sweet. We finally did the Nadu thing. Alright, this Flusterstorm was supposed to be in my deck. That was a mistake. On the draw, am I more interested in Force of Will? Still probably not. Grinding through their stuff is more my plan than stopping it from happening, though I can do both with the Macabres, the Endurances. Maybe Teferi's a little clunky here. It does remove Atraxa from play, but that so does Swords to Plowshares and Get Lost. I could shave a Halfling on the draw. Alright, -1 Halfling. This is what I've done. Oof. Alright, yeah, this hand has a Swords to Plowshares and almost nothing else going on. They kept 7. We know they still have their whole business over there. We also know they have a bunch of Inquisition of Kozilek's. Bunch of extra discard. I don't think this hand is keepable, though. Oh, basic planes, why would you do this to me? I am going to keep this and bottom a Zenith. And just hope that I draw a green source of mana before it's too late. Flooded Strand. Tameo. Sick. Always had it easy. Okay, I'm going to pass. I don't love that this Tameo's in play, but I am a deck that can answer it. I have the Get Lost in. I boarded out the Prismatic Ending. Ponder, that's 2 draws this turn. Polluted Delta, fetch immediately. I hope I get Thoughtseized here. Alright, well, this will flip Tameo. How worried about that am I? Is this worth a force? I think it is. I hope they force back. Yeah, give me that Veil of Summer. Can I afford to play on basics? I might have to. Okay, Forest, Veil, Nice, and I found a Fairy Macabre. I am happy with how this worked out. Still got to deal with Tamiyo, but Caracas, Swords to Plowshares, got a bunch of stuff for that. I'm going to Zenith for a Halfling here. If I can get to Fairy down, next turn uncounterably clear this Tamiyo, that's action. Thoughtseize, alright, well. Are they more worried about Fairy Macabre or Teferi? They took Teferi. Yep, good call. Fatal Push. Alright. Now we're Tamiyo gaming. Swords to Plowshares, one of the best things I could find. Alright, I will play out Nomad. I think I'm going to sandbag this Trop. I can't afford to be wastelanded in case I top deck a Ponder. 3 clues in the bank now. It might take a little while, but those will all be relevant this game. Cracking a clue. Nadu off the top. I would just shove it. Brainstorm. Remember when I said I'm going to leave that available? A Zenith. Okay, I'm going to go Savannah Zenith here. Put them back like that. And my plan is to shove Nadu next turn. They're up to 4 cards. They can easily make it 5. Cracking a clue. 5 cards in hand. They're all spells. And nothing to it but to do it, as they say. Force of Will. It costs them 2 cards. But I know I'm drawing land next turn. I'm just getting buried by Tamiyo. This game has nothing to do with reanimation. It's just all Tamiyo. She's drawn 3 cards already, and then there's going to be 2 more in the bank. And it cost me Force of Will on a turn 1 Ponder, or turn 2 Ponder, to just even have a chance. And I'm playing out my lands. They are down to 11. Now 10. It will depend on how much attacking and blocking their deck can actually do here. Like, if they are all in on Reanimator, and they know I'm holding Fairy Macabre, what do we do with that? I mean, they did just get a free Entomb off of Undercity Sewers. It's the RNG Entomb. I just have to hope that their hand is mostly air. And if they cast a Reanimate, I have the Macabre. Now I'm actually drawing cards again. Can I get a good one? Ugh. Alright, well. Basically no good ones left. Nomad's gone. Right on time. I'm not going to cast that. This deck, there could be spots where it's correct to just brainstorm into Bowmaster and try to get my engine online, but we're not in one. Not yet. Now Tamiyo can flip if they want her. Yep, cracked a clue. And here goes Tamiyo. 6 cards in hand. Remember when they had 2 cards in hand and just Tamiyo in play? That's the effect of Tamiyo. I'm almost relieved that it's a Planeswalker now. Okay, that's really good. What I mean by I'm relieved it's a Planeswalker is it's not drawing an extra card every single turn guaranteed now. Okay, Tamiyo targeting Force of Will. I'm going to cast Endurance here. I was hoping they would go to combat first and I could try to fend off this Bowmaster. Wow, that just resolved. That's Atraxa and all of Tamiyo's targets gone. I am surprised and delighted that that worked. And this is the other thing I was talking about. You just have to kind of hope that their hand is all air. Just like Reanimates with no targets or whatever. That's not air. That's the best card they could have. Alright, we need a Swords to Plowshares basically immediately. Barragoyf, not a legend. I think I have to cast this Brainstorm, even though it makes Orc Army into a sicko. Alright, Brainstorm time. Hate this, but here we go. Put back Caracas and a land. Yeah, okay, so they're going face, which is a little bit of a relief. If they had targeted Endurance, I wouldn't be able to cast this Ponder. And I think I should fetch a Surveil land first, just to maximize how many cards I see this turn. Not that one. Okay, Ponder. Zenith. Is there anything good to Zenith for right now? I could just take a hit from Barragoyf, or chump Barragoyf. And then next turn, Zenith for Nadu, Ponder, hope Nomad's there. Okay. It's not pretty, but I'll take it. I'm in trouble. I need a high roll to take this game, so I'm going to try to high roll. I'm getting attacked for... They can attack with everything here. Yeah, great attack with the Bowmaster. Chump Barragoyf. Hope that their hand is blank, and I run insanely hot. All right. Remember, they have clue tokens. That's bad for me. 7 cards in hand. Entomb. Yep. I hope that they hope I shuffled away my Macabre here. All right. Fairy Macabre, exile, Atraxa, and Entomb. Because I did Brainstorm since they've seen the Macabre. We got a 2-for-1 there, and now I need a million for 1. Okay, we're dead to Force, dead to Daze, dead to Fatal Push, but I will do as much as I can without conceding. Zenith first, because I know the top card on my deck wasn't Nomads and Core. None of these are Nomads. Shuffle. Use Ponder's ability. Delighted Halfling. All right, we've lost. You can see how that would get grindy. Like, if I just have Caracas or Swords to Plowshares to kill that Tameo before it draws 7, 10 cards, whatever was worth that game, we're close. But obviously, this is the problem with Dimir Reanimator and why it's such a good deck. They have this thing that wins the game by itself, and then they have this shit you have to keep track of as well. And it's got a little ahead of me. And of course, drawing Orcish Bowmaster on the turn, I drew the Brainstorm that maybe started helping myself. Not ideal. Okay. Close, but it feels distressingly fair here. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables. In this YouTube series, hosts Patrick Sullivan and Patrick Chapin go set by set through Magic's past, leveraging their decades of experience as Pro Tour players and game designers to analyze the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a deep dive into the facts, mechanics, cycles, trivia, decks of the time, and historical context of the set. The hosts dig into notable cards of the era and their lasting impact today. Each set gets an award show where the hosts pick their favorite cards for categories such as Best, Worst, and Weirdest. And finally, give a letter grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables. I'm on the play in round 4. My opponent has a Yorion Sky Nomad. I'm going to keep this hand. I like hands that start with Delighted Halfling. Just puts the opponent in a position where they have to figure it out. Death and Taxes did recently win a huge online tournament. It's been showing up again. Also discussed in our recent Eternal Glory podcast. Brainstorm, good find. I'm going to put these basic lands back in my deck. And they are going to be a Wasteland deck, but I've not played around it, and I'm not going to start now. Nomad, Brainstorm, Plow. It is likely that I want all of these cards. Okay, there's a Wasteland. It's fine, I got lands. And they have to decide if wasting me is even worth it versus developing. Like if they could get Felly online or something here. They passed with Wasteland up. Yeah, I think they pretty clearly have Felia. How do I spend my mana the best here? I think I play Nomad and then have Brainstorm. Okay, yeah, I'm going to play out Nomad, which does tell them what I'm doing, but it gives me a chance to still Nadu next turn, even if they Wasteland me. Because if I try to sandbag and do it all at once with 4 mana, that's a lot worse. Containment Priest, fascinating. All right, well, that one I care a lot less about. Though I am a Zenith deck, little annoying. Fetching Containment Priest and Yorion, just excellent combo. Okay, I am going to... I think I'm actually going to fetch first here. Because if I Brainstorm to hide cards, fetching right afterwards isn't that useful. Brainstorm. There's the Nadu. Oh, I could just force this. Oh no, Nadu is my only thing. Okay, never mind. I cannot just force this. I'm going to put back Force Nadu probably. Though I do want the Halfling. Like if they take Halfling and Wasteland me, or no, I got the Soul Cauldron is Halfling. Okay, I'm going to put back Force and Nadu. And then I'm going to plow this Priest. All right, we're all in. They took the Soul Cauldron. Lion Sash. All right, they're in a lot of trouble unless they have exactly Solitude. All right, we're in there. We're flipping. Force of Will in my hand. Brainstorm. Land. I'm going to go again before I lay out the Halfling. The Halfling lets me go a few more rounds. Halfling. There's a backup Nadu. Another land. This can be Dryad Arbor. Dryad Arbor. 2 more. I properly not doing it here. Nomads. That's 2 more. And then this is another 10 cards as soon as we go to their turn. Or whenever I feel like it on their turn. Okay. And I can attack here because they can't block. I'll just put the damage on Nadu. Sweet. Okay. We're doing it. They haven't conceded yet, so we will see what a game against a fair deck when I have Nadu active looks like. And it is... Alright, so they gave up. It is important to remember I don't have a combo, but I do have Endurance. If I flip through my deck, I can Endurance to not deck myself, and you can always just stop when you have enough. Death and or taxes. Collector Roof, Outland Liberator. Consign to Memory. It's very good against them. Get Lost. I don't think I want Soul Cauldron. Pretty sure I don't want any of these forces. Though, is Force better than Teferi? It's close. Like, if there's one clutch turn where I'm trying to stick Nadu, if I take the posture of a combo deck, then Force makes a lot of sense. Yeah, maybe I cut the Teferis here and just leave a couple forces in to help punch my action through. I will try that. Also, Brady Monroe has written a primer and sideboard guide for this deck. It's out there in the world. I have not read it. He is Einstein9998 on the socials, if you want to reach out and get that. But stuff like figuring out, am I supposed to have Force of Will and protect my combo or not have Force of Will and just be a mid-range deck is something that he's already figured out, so you don't have to. One-landers make me nervous, but Delighted Halfling and Ponder are both here. They're vile. I think I have to let that go. Halfling. I'm actually going to Ponder first because... oh, that's dangerous. There is a land there, but it's not a good one. And my next cards don't help. I am going to shuffle. Alright, I'm extremely dangerous to Wasteland here. Now, the problem with Halfling versus Noble Hierarch or Birds of Paradise, any normal mana dork I would have just played, but Halfling doesn't play Ponder. So getting Wastelanded there is still just terrible. Okay, Ponder again. They could Bowmaster me here. Alright, just a pile of lands. This is what I wanted. Don't shuffle. And now I will invest a Halfling. I'll get Savannah in the mix. Halfling. Maybe that was supposed to be Trop again. In that turn, denies me Swords to Plowshares, but guarantees me Ponder. That's interesting. Shadowy Backstreet. 2 is where the real insanity starts happening off of Aether Vial. Swords to Plowshares, that's not my fight. Now I have to worry about Containment Priest, which, I mean, Containment Priest in your Yorion Aether Vial deck is a choice, but I am a Zenith deck, and they do have that card. Right. Upkeep, Aether Vial, putting in White Orchid Phantom. The land comes in tapped. Annoying. Alright, well, that's why they did what they did. I have nothing to do with this mana right now, but I will lock up Basic Island for future consideration. Zenith. Alright, I could Zenith for Arbor here. I guess that's the play. I could force a Containment Priest, but Containment Priest also turns off their Aether Vial, so maybe I don't care. It didn't have Thalia in the end step. They could have Flicker Wisp now to beat up my lands, but I do have one of each basic. 4 cards in their hand. Witchblessed Meadow. That means they want both mana and Vial. Like, they're trying to get to 3, 4, 5 mana, and they have Vial on 3. Recruiter of the Guard. Orcish Bowmaster. I think I have to force that. That just being Stone Rain in addition to being Orcish Bowmaster is not where I want to be. Phantom gets in. Land's a great draw. Nomad is also a great draw. Alright, now I have the choice of set up the whole combo for next turn or just deploy Nadu now. And I'm going to go Plow plus entire combo available. They're down to 2 cards in hand plus whatever they draw right now. Vial's up to 4, so they are trying to get to that Yorion endgame. Oh, Wasteland, I hate you. That's really tough. I'm going to Plow Recruiter of the Guard if they Wasteland me. Like, that one is the scariest with all the flickers in their deck, including the Yorion that they can get and play next turn uncounterably. They're spending mana. Wrath of the Skies for 1, that's disgusting. Well, it happens. That kills their Aether Vial, though, which is probably why they invested all this other mana. They Plow the Recruiter. It's not their biggest creature, but it is their best one. Yeah, that was nasty. Now I need to just draw some lands. Bunch of lands in a row. That's the start. I am not gonna invest this Nomad. I think having Plow available and the option for Lush Portico to smooth this out over multiple turns makes more sense. Another one. I hate this guy. Orcish Bowmaster. That's a someday problem. Not immediately, though. Lush Portico coming out of my deck. Force of Will, not interested. I need lands. Ponder, okay. Come on, Ponder. There's the lands. The Delighted Halfling underneath and a Consigned to Memory. I don't think I want any of that shit. But I will take these. Okay. Now I have a path to Nomad plus Nadu next turn. I have another Surveil land in my deck. They have Orcish Bowmaster and one unknown in the hand. Now they have Yorion and Bowmaster and one unknown in the hand. I'm actually just going to plow this Recruiter because I know it's going to be a problem eventually, and I'd like to spend my mana while I have it. And I'm going to try to Surveil into a white source. I guess it can be any mana. Surveil into some mana here and have at least one turn where I'm doing stuff. Collector Oof, not interested. Come on, deck. Ship the lands. Nice. Okay. Nadu Winged Wisdom on the stack. And I'm doing it in this order so the Bowmaster can't kill my Nomad. The hooks are in. The best they can do right now is Plow or Solitude my Nadu, which is really good, but it is a 2-for-1. And they didn't do it. They're fetching in response. This Bowmaster cannot kill Nomad here. I can redirect the damage to Nadu. Right, there's Bowmaster. I'll target Nomad with itself and get those out of the way, and then the next damage will be being dealt to Nadu. All right, flip to multiple of those. Deal another one to Nadu. All right, there's a Halfling. Now I'm going to let Bowmaster resolve. And I've already done this, but I'm going to do it again for good measure. Nadu takes one here. Okay, I have to choose something. There's so many things. Redirect 1 damage because we are Orcish Bowmaster to Nadu Winged Wisdom with shield from Nomad's Egg Core. That's what I want to be doing. Okay, all right. That was a moment of panic. I was like, does Magic Online know how to do this? It does, don't worry. Swords of Plowshare is a great hit. Basic Forest, because I'm going to be playing Halfling off it and continuing to flip. Flippin' Safekeeper. Well, if I hit a green source, I can never lose this game. Another Nomad. Do I think that's better than Swords of Plowshares? No, I do. Yes, I do. So I might still be able to plow. Consigned to Memory. Another flip. Okay, I have to pass, but I can flip 8 cards here. And if there's a blue land among them, I can Consign to Memory. If there's a white land among them, I can Swords to Plowshares. They played a Plains. Ooh, Phantom Blade. When this enters, attach it up to 1 target creature you control and destroy it to one other target creature. All right, it's flipping time. Do I have a blue source left in my deck? I do. Okay, we got a couple of them, actually. I'm going to get the Tropical Island, and then I'll keep flipping. Like, I can at least Consign to Memory this enters trigger now. Scythecat Cub might just be lethal next turn. Backup Nadu. All right, Phantom Blade can resolve, and then I'll counter this enters trigger. Yorion's the last card in their hand. Consign that. Consign is great versus Death Indexes, by the way. Their whole deck is just triggered abilities. If you're a fair deck and you're not sure if you should bring in Consign versus them, you should bring in as many as you have access to. Okay, cool. They did a lot of really good things that game, and it simply wasn't enough because when you wiggle this 2 things into play, you suddenly win. Running Roughshod over ultra fair decks is what Nadu is very good at. Is that round 4 already? Jeez, on to the final round. This is going quick. We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the draw in the final round with my entire combo in my hand. I'm going to keep. I have forced blue card if I need it, but that blue card is unfortunately Nadu. Bloodstained Mire. Fair decks don't usually have that card in it. I'm going to play Windswept Heath. This can plow if it needs to, but it acts as a Surveil land if I don't need to plow. I can force around a Daze here. I really don't want to force, though. Undercity Sewer. All right. I recently recorded a modern deck. I think this video is going to come out before that one, but I recorded a modern deck with like 10 or 11 Reanimator hits in it instead of 2. And the number of times I just blind entombed off of a Surveil land was incredible. Okay, I think I want Portico. I guess with basic planes, I should have gotten Hedge Maze there. All right. Didn't think about it enough. I am going to sit on this Ponder. It's now my blue card for Force. Hold on. What is Grixis? Grixis Control exists. I could just put Nomad into play, make them do something, but that die's so easy to Bowmaster. I'm not giving them that. Played around it. Okay, here's that. I am just going to plow this thing immediately. I don't need to take too much damage from that. Grixis Control is a deck that exists in Legacy. There's also a Grixis Wizards deck kicking around. That's also in my queue to record. Subscribe to make sure you're here when I do that. Ponder resolves. Since we're talking about subscribing, I've been very bad lately about reminding people that subscribing is completely free to you and very important to me. If you're here watching round 5 of this likely hour-long video, you're clearly interested. Click subscribe. And if you watch every day, you might be surprised to learn you're not subscribed. I'm actually going to let this resolve because if they take Force, then I get to keep Ponder, and if they take Nadu, then I can Ponder looking for Nadu. Like, this just isn't worth 2 cards to me. I'm not that close to comboing off. Okay, they took Force. That's interesting. Orc Army coming in. I'll get my Hedge Maze here. I like Brainstorm. Put that on top. That completely mixes up everything they just learned from the Thoughtseize, assuming I find a blue or fetch land with which to do things, which I did not, but that's okay. I'm going to go Nadu and Teferi on top in that order. Or I could go Nomad Teferi. I'm not playing Nomad right now. I'm playing Halfling right now. Or no, I'm going to go Teferi Nomad. Do I want to take a turn off to develop Teferi? I guess is the question. Because I can go uncounterable Nadu plus Nomad next turn, but the Nomad is counterable. Okay, I'm going to go Nomad Teferi. Put those back. Develop the Halfling. Uncounterable Teferi is pretty insane too. And if they spend a removal spell on this, it's a removal spell they don't have for the Nadu or Nomad that they just left in my hand. If they were setting up a combo this whole time, they got me. Realm of the Vestige, which is also known as Lightning Bolt. I think these look terrible, by the way. I don't like that Final Fantasy bonus sheet at all. A Brainstorm after attacking for 1. As far as they know, I have Nadu and Nomad in my hand, which means right now they need to come up with Land Thoughtseize or have Force of Will in their hand. And what I've done here is set up this Teferi to test them on Force of Will at least. They did find the land, but they did not Thoughtseize me. All right, here's this guy. Teferi. It's a use it or lose it situation on the counter spells. Force pitching Brazen Borrower. Okay, there goes the Force. Hymn to Turok resolves. And next turn I can go Nadu plus Nomad. And I'm going to lead on the Nadu, because if they kill that one in response to Nomad, I still get a flip. But if they kill Nomad before Nadu comes down, I get nothing. Touching a red in the end step. Do we suddenly have Entomb in our deck? Cling to Dust. All right. Yeah, this is just Grixis Control. I accept. I've played around Thoughtseize and Force of Will with my sequencing here. They had the Force. Are they going to have the Thoughtseize or the second Force? Ooh, they have Kaito. This little pause after blocks. Sure. Okay, 1 card in hand, and they get to Surveil 2 and draw a card here. Let's see, 2 hit the bin. Nothing good. Oh, kept them both. Scary. All right, Nadu. Leading on this one because I have 2 of it. If Force Blue card is the play. Okay. And they kept another card on top. A little bit scary. But okay, I'm still going to sequence in the same way. Kaito's attacking. A Force pitched. Yeah, another Kaito. This Kaito looks crazy in foil. Kaito binned Underground Sea and Polluted Delta. So that was full random. Brainstorm. A lot of looks here. They're stringing it together by the skin of their teeth. 2 cards in hand. Didn't get Thoughtseized. All right, here I go. Nomad, or Nadu. Nomad. Moment of truth. Do you have interaction? And if so, what is it? One of the cards in their hand they did keep on top with a Surveil on the first Kaito turn. And having removal here is pretty good for the Nadu. Like if they have Fatal Push or an Edict. Well, Edict's insane. But if even Fatal Push, that's 2 Nadus down. I do get a 2-for-1 off it, but Kaito's going nuts over there. And we're seeing a fetch. Volcanic Island. I hope this is an emergency brainstorm. Okay, it is. They are revolted if Fatal Push is a card they have access to, which I imagine it would be. It's the best black removal spell in the format right now. We're in. Okay, now you're in big trouble. They could, like, Fatal Push the Nomad now, but why would that happen? No, they don't have Fatal Push, I'm sure of it. And Lightning Bolt doesn't kill Nomad because of the text of Nomad. We're getting some good flips here. Zenith. I don't really care about Bowmaster here. I think I just want a Zenith for some fella. Probably a halfling. I could get Dryad Arbor and still have mana up. The Arbor's still in my deck, right? Yes, okay. Zenith for 0. Dryad Arbor. That's 2 more cards. 4 more if it survives the turn. They can kill this one with Bowmaster. Or Lightning Bolt. But not till after I get a bunch of cards. Okay, I think Ponder is worth casting. Brainstorm's a little dangerous. Like, that's enough to kill Nadu if I Brainstorm into a Bowmaster here. Okay, they do have it. That's fine. They're just going face. That's pretty smart. Force of Will is probably good enough here. Okay, don't shuffle. I'm at 6. I have Force of Will versus their 1 card in hand. I can Nadu flip again. Kaito will be able to attack, but Dryad Arbor can block. Like, Kaito can stun Nadu, but that's not lethal. I have a backup Nomad on top of my deck. I could also just hit a white source and start plowing these creatures and take extra pressure off. Okay, they are stunning Nadu. That's fine. Flip. Flip. This is the Nomad and the bonus Nadu. Veil of Summer isn't in my main deck. There's nothing that I can do here that would stop this from happening, so I'll just let it get stunned and then take the rest of my actions in combat. Right, here comes some beats. Nomad. It's Ponder. Nomad. It's Plow. Dryad Arbor. Zenith. Dryad Arbor. It's a potential white source. Okay, I'll fetch here down to 5. I think there's a Tundra still in my deck. There is. Exactly one Tundra. I'm going to Plow this Orc army, and then I'll block Kaito and redirect damage to Nomad, or to Nadu. It says 3 power. All right, 1 there. 1 there. 1 there. Okay, damage can resolve now. Arrange your damage. Send it to Nadu. Send it to Nadu. Or to, that says Nomad. To Nadu. To Nadu. Okay, Nadu has 3 damage on it. It's stunned anyway, and I have another one in my hand. I don't care if they finish it off with a Lightning Bolt. When you're playing these decks, whether it's Breakfast or Nadu, this or Elves, like literally any build of Nadu, the Nomad's text actually matters a lot. Especially in the mid-range build where combat is part of your game and you don't have an all the way I win button, just a I'm probably going to win button. Okay, it's now my turn where I can flip another 8,000 cards should I desire to. There is an Endurance in my deck. I think I want to get Scythecat Cub and just start winning. Zenith for 2. Scythecat Cub. Straight up Cub in it. I'll target Dryad Arbor with this. That can be my warrior. Another one hit. Dryad Arbor. The first 2 Cub triggers have to hit the same creature if you want any value. And now after I can put +1 counters wherever I want. I fetch. Down to 4. I have to be careful not to get bolted out. Put a counter on Nomad now. Okay, Nomad, target yourself. Dryad Arbor has already been targeted twice. Nadu. Put this counter on Dryad Arbor. Nadu. Another Nomad. Cub. My Endurance is still in there somewhere. Cub. Another counter on Dryad Arbor. Okay, so Cub naturally has Trample. Dryad Arbor does not. I have Infinity Swords to Plowshares now. Plow your Bowmaster. Plow your Baleful Strix. Play Sylvan Safekeeper. I can never lose if this card resolves. Okay. Attack Kaito, attack you. 1 card in hand. 2 forces in mine. I'll play out this Agatha's Soul Cauldron, just in case. Like, Cling to Dust is in their graveyard, like, maybe they have some redraws. I don't know. It seems unlikely, but okay. Right, another Nomad. I'll get my flips on. Alright, I'll start putting counters on Cub. That one has trample. And a Zenith, an errant Zenith. Might as well fire it. I think there's another halfling in the deck. There's several more halflings in the deck. Okay, I'm just going to pass here. I think I've done enough. They are dead on board. I have 2 forces. They can't kill any of my creatures because of Safekeeper. Thoughtseize, yeah. Have a good look. Enjoy that. You can see a lot more of the cards you've already seen before conceding. One of the Force of Wills is gone. And I will simply go to my turn. I'm not going to tap this Soul Cauldron because I don't need to. Okay. If I fetch, I'm in bolt range. But I have so many forces that I don't care. I think there is exactly 1 land left to get. Or did I get them all? 1, 2, 2. 2, 2, 1. Both Surveil lands. All the basics. Actually, I'm out. Okay, yeah. I am out. Never mind. I will not be doing that. Here's an attack for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And my opponent's at 11? Okay, I guess I'll just attack. We don't need to do anything else. Cool. All right. Wiggled the combo in versus a fair deck. As we've determined, that's pretty strong. They're Grixis Control. I like Veil of Summer. I like Carpet of Flowers. Flusterstorm's probably good enough. But this could be Grixis Tempo. I guess with Bowmaster and Kaito, we should probably read this deck is a little more aggressively slanted than it could be. Soul Cauldron and some forces, though against the black and red removal deck, Soul Cauldron is nuts. It's the white removal decks where it doesn't do a lot, because if they force, bolt, or push my Nomad, Soul Cauldron turns all my creatures into Nomad. I actually want to keep that. I'm into it. Yeah, it might just be all the forces, and I just kind of play normal mid-range Magic. I could leave 1 in. Oh, Hydroblast. We'll certainly have targets. Like Molten Collapse, maybe a Kolaghan's Command. I didn't see any wizards, so I don't expect Flame of Enor. But we definitely saw Lightning Bolt. All right, no forces. Let's game. No forces might be a little risky if, like that last game, I was at 4 when all was said and done, and Force of Will made sure I wouldn't just die to a burst of lightning bolts at the end. I'm going to try it force-free, but that might not be right. That might actually never be right. I don't know, talk to one of the experts. Oh, what a beautiful hand with no lands to cast the spells in it. I will mulligan. Here we go. I'll keep this one, and I think Savannah goes to the bottom. We're just going to be trading stuff back and forth for a while. I just want more cards in my hand than specific cards. Things they might do to cheese me out are like Blood Moon, or they might have some sort of pivot in the deck, or something we didn't see game 1, like an Entomb Reanimate package, but I would be really surprised if that's true. Brainstorm. I think we're just going to have to work through a bunch of Thoughtseizes, Fatal Pushes, and Lightning Bolts on the way to victory. Volcanic Island. A Lightning Bolt. What a surprise. Okay, I am just going to Zenith for another halfling here. Let's keep those coming. They're clearly worried about it, as they should be as a blue deck. But they're a blue deck with excellent removal. Grixis has the best spread of removal. I think white has the best individual pieces of removal, but Grixis can really get it from a million different directions. Right, I'm moving my hand around while your thought sees me, hoping that they click the wrong card. They got Green Sun Zenith. That's a joke, by the way. If you don't play Magic Online, they don't see that. That's just on my side. Wouldn't that be sick if you could actually do that? Okay, they seized my Zenith, pushed my Halfling. These are all the 1-for-1 exchanges I expected. And it's why Swords to Plow, or why Force of Will is no longer in my deck. Okay, I am going to Brainstorm. Carpet of Flowers. Wowie. Right, I'll put some of these lands back. Misty, Carpet, and I will move to my second main, put white mana in my pool, and delete Tamiyo. Bang. They'd have to have Force Blue card here, then they'd be all in on Tamiyo, which I don't think is a real thing they're going to do. And now my Carpet can send Green Sun Zenith straight into Nadu Town. They might just tap 4 lands for Kaito right now. That would be pretty sweet. Oh yeah, gotta do what you gotta do. Right, they made Kaito bigger, and I'm gonna get Lush Portico in the end step and hope I'm looking at Nomad's Encore on the other side. Lush Portico. Oh, do you like Magic the Gathering? Because I do. Yes, make green Sun Zenith for 3. Put Nadu Winged Wisdom into play. Cast Nomad's Encore, and can we get a concession or do we have to do this? Caracas on top. And I've definitely won this game, but it is reasonable to want to play it out, especially if I'm starting from nothing. Okay. So they can't remove Nadu now because of Caracas, and I could flip a jillion more cards at any point. And I'm at 19 life, so there's no risk of being like stun Nadu, bolt you, suddenly lose somehow. Not a thing. Having 2 Surveillance in your deck is nice. I'm used to playing with 1. Opponent just said, at least they have a YouTube video to show their friends how unlucky they are. I mean, I don't know. Like, if you watch my channel, every time I play against Nadu, I'm like, they always have 2. There's always 2 Nadus. I'll move Heaven and Earth to deal with the first Nadu, and then they just, like, have another one. Okay, they're stunning my Nadu, which just flipped another Nadu. Deal. I technically could have flipped and tried to hit Veil of Summer there, but it's not important to do that, so I'm not going to. This is a 4-power Kaito now, so the trick from last game doesn't work. Okay, let's get the rest of my money at the end of the turn here. 3 more Nadu triggers come in. Got a Halfling, got a Zenith, got a Dried Arbor. Oh, 2 more. Why stop there? It's fun to be the bad guy. Having been the person with like some Swords to Plowshares and some Force of Wills in my deck thinking I can never beat Nadu. It's fun to be on the other side. Okay, yes, make green. Deploy Scythecat Cub, which is my primary win condition. And I'll begin the clicking. It should be pretty easy to remove Nadu this turn. I'm going to put the stats onto Dryad Arbor. Flip, 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 flip. Veil of Summer in my hand now. I don't think anything can ever go wrong. Another Nomad. I didn't board out Endurance, so there's no risk of decking myself here. Okay, this is so many cards. I do still have lands I can fetch. I'll do that while I can. Tundra. I'm going to start putting stats on Scythecat Cub. Dryad Arbor is big enough to kill Kaito, which is what I needed out of it. Start putting action on the trample creature. I don't think I'm going to win this turn, so I'll just have a big setup for next turn. I guess Price of Progress is a card that I could be thinking about, though I think it's fine, and I would beat it anyway. Nomad, Halfling, Halfling. Attack Kaito, attack opponent. They could have Bowmaster here. That's just block. They do have Bowmaster. Sure. I could even Veil this, then they have to ping their own face. Oh, they went after Halfling. Something that did not have a Nadu flip on it already. Okay. You've got a Bowmaster trigger. I would like Nadu to die here, if I can help it. Or Kaito. Whichever legendary creature that is, you know what I meant. This is pretty aggressive Swords to Plowsharing, but Kaito is really the only thing they've got going on. And I have no problem with the number of cards that I have access to. We got the GGs in the chat, and there it goes. A positive record with mid-range Nadu, a deck that is surprisingly difficult to sideboard with, at least understanding, like Force of Will specifically. When Force of Will is in my deck in Legacy, basically all I want to do is get it out of my deck. I'm assessing matchups really aggressively, thinking, is anything that they're doing worth 2 cards? And then even against decks where that is true, like Reanimator, do I have better cards in my sideboard that can do the same job for 1 card? And I just really want Force of Will to leave my deck. And this plays like a mid-range deck in so many situations, except you do have Nadu Nomad, which plays like a combo, where it's fine to work them down and eventually get this happening, or you could just back it up with Force of Will and make it happen faster. Also, if you tap out for Nadu Nomad in a situation where it's a little dicey, where it's like I've assembled the thing, but I'm way behind, and I just need to claw in for 1 more turn cycle, then being able to flip 2 Force of Will is pretty important. Anyone serious about this deck should definitely reach out to Einstein9998 on the social medias and buy that Nadu primer that he's put together, just to make sure that you know what the correct plan in these matchups is. But outside of that, the plan's pretty clear. You kill their stuff until you get your thing going, and then you win. This deck is sweet. It definitely felt like an uphill battle versus Reanimator when we played against it, which is a tough place to be, but you also do have tools, Force, Plow, Endurance, all in the main, being able to combo into an Atrax or an Archon and get enough material that you can overwhelm it. I think that is just viable. Sweet deck. I'm glad it is making a resurgence. I'm going to leave this one here. James, thank you for footing the bill to play this deck that a bunch of people wanted to see. Everybody, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel, check out my Patreon to support or to submit a deck of your own, and I'll see you next time.